Tonight, traveling on the taxpayer's dime, a Five on Your Side investigation.
City youth sports teams skipping the fundraising, going straight to City Hall to cover their costs of competing out of state.
Five on Your Side investigator Scott Noel, you uncovered tens of thousands of dollars and some connected to city leaders.
Yeah, well, all of this started when we asked for city spending records. When we found large charges on city credit cards, we asked for receipts. Those raised even more questions, not only about who's traveling on your tax dollars, but also their connections to City Hall.
We're gonna leave it all on the line, man. Y'all understand that?
Yes, sir.
It's been an amazing season for the Maple Heights Saints.
Some of these kids live and die for this program.
Hard hitting that's won them every game the last 2 seasons. A record they're taking on the road to the national championships in Florida next month.
Hit them pads.
It's huge. Huge. Most of our kids haven't even been out the city.
Driving.
Hard work on the field and off to make the $15,000 trip a reality.
Right now we're selling donuts, popcorn, and Polish boys.
Fundraising their way to Florida, but Five on Your Side investigators learned that's not always the case with Cleveland Muni League football teams.
We working our kids up.
Take the 2017 CMHA Renegades. They play in the same league as the Saints, went to the same championship in Florida, even had a Cleveland City TV crew documenting the trip. But instead of those fundraising sheets, City Hall bankrolled their trip. Records show more than $12,000 for the bus, nearly $15,000 for hotel rooms, even $2,200 of city money spent to send the group of 47 to Universal Studios. A city spokeswoman confirms the trip was paid for out of Cleveland's recreation budget.
Our recreation money is for the whole, not just a specific group.
Donna Brown's been an activist on Cleveland's east side for more than a decade, repeatedly asking city leaders to expand rec programs for kids.
Anytime you're left out in the streets, you get swallowed up and trouble comes.
Brown says every time she's asked for more funding, it's the same thing.
I'm stretching my budget as far as I can, Donna. I'm stretched out.
What she didn't know was the city's spending didn't stop with one football team. We found receipts for basketball trips too, both times listed as trips to AAU tournaments. Nearly $13,000 to send a team to San Diego last year. Almost $9,000 for basketball teams' travel to Orlando. The grand total for the 3 trips, more than $51,000.
I'm pissed off over this, a total of $51,000 on 3 trips, and we're one of the poorest cities in the United States, and you're mismanaging our money.
But City Councilman Kenneth Johnson doesn't see it that way at all.
It's a good program. I think the world of it.
He chairs the council committee that oversees recreation in Cleveland. We talked with him inside the rec center that bears his name.
Once they go and come back, they are neighborhood heroes. In a black community, there's no such thing as enough heroes. You know, beside the guy that's on the corner telling the kids going to elementary school, come sell some drugs, work for me. You know, that's what this prevents.
Johnson says he's seen the benefits personally. That basketball trip to San Diego, turns out Johnson's son, a city rec employee, went along as an assistant.
He was a last resort. They couldn't get anybody else to go. So they asked him, you know, and he told them that he would go. So that's how it happened.
Is that a perception problem, do you think?
Sure it is. I mean, that's the price we pay to be elected.
The family ties don't stop with Johnson. According to social media posts from Mayor Frank Jackson's family, the mayor's great-grandsons played football for the Renegades in 2017, and one went on that AAU basketball trip to Orlando. The families of city leaders benefiting from thousands of dollars of recreation funding. For weeks, we tried getting answers from the city. We requested an interview about the spending and gave specifics about the trips we wanted to talk about. That request declined, so we went to the rec department. That's where that city spokeswoman found us.
You're not being transparent if you're not answering questions.
Again, I am not the recreation center manager. I am not the director.
So you're going to look into that camera and say you believe it is an appropriate spending of city funds to send the mayor's great-grandson's football team, basketball team out of state, and Councilman Kenneth Johnson's son's basketball team to San Diego.
I'm not commenting on that.
She may not, but Brown is.
That tells the story. You got it in black and white.
She can't understand in a city with so many needs how so much money could go to help a few dozen kids.
We have to look at all of these children are ours. And when we start just looking out for just our children, we're doing our city an injustice.
We asked the city if there were other trips besides these 3 paid for out of Recreation's budget. We're still waiting on answers from City Hall. One thing we do know, Jackson's great-grandson won't be traveling to any basketball tournaments soon. He is locked up in juvenile detention, charged in connection with a drive-by shooting at a Cleveland police officer. Reporting live, I'm 5 on your side investigator Scott Knoll.